All right, Cyber Traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday, post Traders Talk edition, as always, this Tuesday for our afternoon meeting, February 7th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Great to see Jeff, Michael Leda, and Jeff H. all joining us here inside our live trading room. Great to have all of us back on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I appreciate you folks, especially if you had joined us earlier this morning. Did more of an impromptu pop-up stream of our live Traders Talk workshop. So that's actually a recording now on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. But if you're interested in joining our live trading room, that is to continue along each week or at least get access to the prior week's recordings of said workshop, go right down to the link on the blue banner below right there if you're joining us on social to get signed up. But for right now, though, Phil, Ravina, John, Ron, all joining us here right now as well inside our live trading room. Let's hop right to it. I got a little issue here to begin, folks, so stand by really quickly. I just realized this now. Little rookie mistake on my end. Great to have one of our new members, Ruth, joining us right now. Allow me to reshare my screen. Little rookie mistake here inside the live trading room. So, and now my damn screen sharing there. That was Rich's. So, how about that? Good to go. We good to go, folks. It's not really on the best mover here, VS. But let me know if it's on the trade VS here, right? Good. There we go. Caught it early, right? So with that said, let's hop right into it. Market's making a nice move back up right now. What a wild day that we had after Powell ended up giving his remarks, huh? Like when you look at the SPY on the 5-minute here, just up and down and up you see, like that looks like a full market day ultimately. Like up and down it went from 9:30 until now. No. That's not from 9:30. That's from when Powell spoke at noon. So, really markets were pretty flat in anticipation of what he had to say. I'm not going to break out every headline for you right now, but more or less, Powell just basically saying that he expects inflation to decline in 2023, said it will take some time to get inflation down, and the Fed will need to further rate hikes. So with saying that, ended up having a huge pop at first. And when it started to pull back, that's where I started to think, I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, it was dropping off so fast that I was expecting to see it break lower, which essentially it did at that point. But I was expecting a lot bigger of a drop off coming up into this meeting. I'm kind of surprised to see, the SPY slingshot back above 410 right now, moving back up towards said highs. Could we see a break even higher into the close now? I mean, hey, if it's not going to break any lower, perhaps there's only one other way it's going to go in the interim temporarily. So, we'll look to see if it could build support now, perhaps at this stage off the 410 or even higher. But VS to begin, not Victoria's Secret, VSCO, but VS versus Systems ended up having a nice pop this morning. I'll tell you, I mean, all day this stupid thing's been happening. A little glitch right there, too, my daily chart. Make sure I save this if I may. All right, so VS ended up having a nice pop early this morning, heading into noontime as it broke higher, but from that point made a pullback. Very similar pop and drop that it made back from, well, last week. Last week ended up gapping up big in pre-market, popped at first, dropped completely back down, and today it ended up topping off essentially where it bottomed out that day. Pretty interesting, right? Roughly off of that 160 level, 159. So, right now, I don't know. I had this on the screen to begin. It was a nice trade from the morning. Good level 1, level 2 type of stock. Right now, not as particular about it right now for this afternoon's trading session, especially with the way the markets are moving right now. Hopefully there could be some good side list action out there, some good side list stocks that can make some good squeezes up. So let's go from top to bottom briefly. No better place to start than right at the top. We'll recap a couple of the moves that we had from our morning, at least here. Again, we went over a couple of them in our Traders Talk workshop earlier today. The SQL was one of them. Ended up making a nice pop going into the market open, but really afterwards, it was more of a dud. It popped afterwards, but got halted on the way up. Got halted on the way down. When a stock gets halted on the way down, that's typically game over, right? That's what we talked about in our workshop. So, with saying that, support turned into resistance, the 169 level. From there, ended up backing right back down there. I was at least expecting resistance to hold at first, but to see it just shake right back down pretty quickly, that's not too encouraging for this afternoon. So, I'll pass on this trade as well, at least for the close. All right, so Rich was wondering if this LIXT trade would look to break up higher into the afternoon. He thought there would be a good chance. And, that was maybe a couple hours ago. He actually messaged me that. So, since it hasn't done a whole lot, but that doesn't mean it's not going to. We got plenty of ball left to play, and it's been kind of dragging off these highs here recently. So, perhaps there's a chance sooner than later, actually, where we happen to see this make a much stronger stronger push back up, begin to push back up towards resistance off of 2 seemingly. I would assume that to be big level, not just as it being a whole number, but just looking at the histogram here, not just $2, but 220 area roughly. That area, it's not that one specific price, but certainly first it's got to bust over 2. I'll tell you, it's not out of contention. We don't really have anything at all on our watch list just yet, so I don't mind beginning throwing this on here. The LIXT. SLQT looking a hell of a lot better. Not only than LIXT, but the other one, the SQL. This is our best looking trade so far going into the afternoon. There's about 11,000 shares on the ask at 163. So if it could break over 150, the 20,000 shares here and plus probably at 150. If it could break that, I would say 163 would be your next resistance level, just looking at that smaller order out there. If it could really begin to rip and run in terms of speaking of historicals, yeah, you definitely have a decent one roughly off that too. Probably a little something here first round. Well, what do you know? 163. 2 looks like a stronger historical. I'm just saying right here first, a little something there. And when I lined it up conveniently enough, matches up with that 11,000 share order quite well. So yeah, I would say 163, then probably like a 192, right around there, 192, 193. And again, that's speaking in terms of just charting, right? So it's the iceberg at 63 that makes up that resistance more than anything. But yeah, SLQT definitely going to be near or at the top of our list by the end of it all. All right, we keep going here, folks. KPRX not doing a whole lot right now. We'll pass on it. CYAD, I'll tell you, it's making the same type of trend off the highs as the SLQ or as the LIXT trade is. So if it can maybe make that stronger pop and blast over the VWAP here, there's a chance, but I feel like that's more wishful thinking now than anything. I wouldn't hold your breath waiting for that move. There's better looking trades right now. The IBIO certainly seems to be one of those right now. So let's take a look at the daily chart here for this trade. It's moving back on up towards the highs we had from yesterday, right off that 125. So obviously we're going to put this on our list. Looking really strong here. More of a level 1 or 2 stock. I'd give it a level 2 if anything. Typically I'd say level 1, but where I could say 2 is, well, look at the spread. It's not just a penny. It's kind of fluctuating a small bit, 1 to 2 cents. So, if this really begins to pop and if the order book is still pretty thin, this could become a much more volatile trade very shortly from now. So, again, that could be wishful thinking very quickly here, just, trying to get the pop right now. But over time, the more this needles resistance, I'd expect a pretty strong move. Here we go. Testing that iceberg and breaking above it now. About 20+ thousand shares got filled. Some green coming in on the tape over that 125. I would say 120 is a pretty big level as well, but it also just held that pretty nicely just a moment ago. So let's see if we can get this here, folks. You know what? I don't mind sticking on this trade just for a split moment. We'll take a quick look, see if this really begins to rip higher right now. It's a really good setup that fell into our lap, essentially, right off that previous high. 17,000 share order roughly on the bid, popping in and out there off that 127. Look at the bid there in blue on my TradeStation matrix right there. Nice move there. I'll tell you, if I was not having as good of a day, I'd be a little frustrated missing this right now, because this is, I don't want to say easy. That's more of a curse word in this trading realm that we live in, but this is a pretty straightforward move. Kathleen says her screen show an SQL. Kath, I would look to log out, log back in. Should be good to go on this IBIO trade. Did anyone jump in on this trade just right now? Right off that 125, 127 area? This has been a pretty sweet trade. Jeff just missed it. Ravina, no. That's all right. We'll get plenty of others at least heading into the close. But that was like really good setup that fell into our lap. Previous high, iceberg. Beautiful move. Beautiful. All right. Let's see what else we can get, though. It was a great morning, great afternoon, hopefully. So there's a lot to go around. There was a lot that went around. So it's really not terrible if you missed this, at least. We had a good day. All right, we keep going here, folks. ZH, kind of slow right now. It's like kind of perking up towards the highs right now, but I'll pass. BGRY here, pass here too. SID, it's a cheapie. It's actually filling the gap really nicely, might I say, on the daily chart. So, in terms of a tradable stock, this does fit the criteria, but normally we tend to stay away from these stocks below $1 more often than not. So, it looks good if you want to follow it. It's not a bad one to look at. Lucy, definitely not a good one to follow right now. G-Sun from earlier. This was also one from last week. Made a huge pop up, ended up dropping off the following day, and you could just see what happened within the same day here today. Made that exact same pop and drop. So, ran up towards 340, 350, and then fell back. Yeah, not really looking too good here. Maybe keep it in mind, like for I don't know, later this week, perhaps. Like, I don't know about tomorrow, even. This is a pretty big pop and drop here at this point. So if it ends up completely gapping down, then we're just going to write it off. But if we check in with it tomorrow, let's say in the afternoon or even the following day in the morning, and it's up big, trying to make another move, there could be better timing. So don't fully write it off just yet, but I'm not going to put this on our main list, certainly for this afternoon. All right. Let's see what else we got, though. Amarin, familiar name. Not doing a whole lot right now. BIDU, nice little pop up early this morning, pre-market, that is. Pulled back pretty hard after the open. But right now, just for such an expensive stock, we're not really going to be following this one too much. All right, we'll hop over to the loser side right now. AWIN down enough for me to at least look at here. Just the pretty spread out order book for right now, so I'll pass there. Say the same on the HOLO trade. If it was shortable, that would be something to keep an eye on, perhaps. Bed Bath Beyond, I mean, it's down 46 freaking percent today, so technically down enough for us to think about a dead cat bounce. But just you look at this daily chart, you tell me if this looks like a healthy chart to you. So, I am not too convinced that Bed Bath is going to make any sort of squeeze this afternoon. It's really got to prove a lot to me in order for me to be convinced on it again. I know I missed out on it personally yesterday afternoon. We had it on our list, but personally speaking, I missed out on that whole run. It's all right. There's other trades to follow out there. We did well today on the KPRX, the SQL, the SOUN, all these others. But that's where I say here, don't get drawn to Bed Bath Beyond just because it ran yesterday. So right now, I'll put this on our side list for sure, but we'll see if there's anything else just like showing a lot more direction in either way, up or down. All right, we keep going here. BV, we got the check trade. I ended up getting stopped out for a small loss on this right off the VWAP off of 1682. It was holding at first. It was holding actually for a good while, but if it's not going to make that big drop off with the market at the time, I was hopeful to see continuation on this downtrend, like I was saying. So that's where I was thinking about shorting Chegg coming off of bad news, and I ended up failing to do that. So it stopped, or failing to do so. So it stopped me out. Now I'd said I'm trying to get this from the 17 level or higher as a short. That's still in play, but right now with the market moving up right now, I'm not going to be as convinced as on taking too many short trades collectively. So unless if this shows a lot of weakness from here, I'm not going to be really as thrilled as going short. If it ends up breaking over 17, I may not be too thrilled with going long. I mean, there's a reason why it's down 19+%. So it did a good job bouncing back up this morning, but unless if it's really dropping, I don't really have much business on this check trade, I feel. So, you know what? I'll pass. Laser could probably say the same on this. I don't know what's down as much as it is, 11%, but probably earnings. Right now, we're in the middle of earnings season still, but either way, we're not going to just check on that. We're just going to see if there's anything else looking better. At the AI from earlier this week and from last week as well made a huge drop this morning. It's hard to borrow, so unless if you can get the shares to short it, I wouldn't look to follow it as such. But this would be something I'd be more inclined to look for that bounce, look for that dead cat bounce at this point. The whole sector has been really hot of late. I don't like using the word hot as much, but just to say, a lot of these stocks were moving up pretty swiftly over the last week and a half. With saying that, though, the SOUN trade, I was looking for a good bounce on off the 380 level today, and it gave me a couple of teases where it tried to do that, but obviously failed. If it's not going to make that big move up, there's only one other way the stock's going to go at the time. So I can say, thankfully, I took a break even on this trade perfectly, in and out, same price right off of 380. Actually, 381, I pulled the plug early, but it ended up dropping right back down. Just like I said, if it's not going to make that big move, you could always get back in on the trade later. It's not even the best time to be trading around that 12, 1, 1:30 Eastern time frame. So that's where I say, hey, we've got a lot of time left from that point. So, and not to say it's going to make that bounce from here, the SOUN, but if I'm interested in AI, then I don't mind at least kind of putting those others on the side list for right now, the BBAI and the SOUN trade, looking for a potential bounce on those. So, I'll do that. I'll at least for right now throw AI on there, if anything. All right, folks, let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right that you would want me to check out or look at here briefly. Great to see Franny, one of our resident members inside our live trading room, joining us on YouTube today. Appreciate you joining us, Franny. There we go. She went in and out on that trade just now. I think that IBIO I was asking about before, right? Jeff in from 125. We'll take a look back on that trade now. So look at that ugly shake, but thankfully it's starting to pick back up now. Certainly you'd want to see this begin to or continue to show higher lows, trending back up towards that 140-ish area, 145. All right. So last call, folks. Let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than that 5%. I'm going to check Benzinga Pro right now as we speak. IBIO is popping up there. The G-Sun trade, I mean, it dropped off so badly from the morning already. So I feel like this is kind of that infamous second win type of move where it lures you in and teases you, but then it tanks badly. I'm going to pass on it. The hell's going on with Six Flags, though? That's kind of interesting. You got a really big pop and run up on Six Flags. I just caught that from the corner of my eye on Benzinga Pro here. What is doing with this? We traded this during the pandemic. In the beginning of the pandemic, we traded all these casino, gaming, entertainment-based stocks, Six Flags, Dave & Buster's, obviously the major casino stocks like MGM, etc. All right, what's doing here? Six Flags spiked to a pre-market high, blah, blah, blah. This is old news. Never mind. This is from January 20th. There's no news out on this trade yet. Maybe it could just be a short squeeze. Wouldn't shock me if Six Flags is one of the heavier shorted stocks out there within the market. This thing took a huge hit. 70 all the way down to 10. It ended up dropping back down over the last year or so. So I know it's been bouncing already before this pop-up so far today, but definitely a nice little squeeze, regardless of the news or not. I'll add this to our list, giving it a shot. All right, folks, going once, going twice, going 3 times. I got only one stock on our side list here, and it was the Bobby J, Bed Bath Beyond. So, yeah, you tell me if this is worth watching or not, folks. It hasn't done anything since we left off with it. The only reason you would say it's worth watching or worth giving it a look is just because of the meme kind of value it brings in case if there's some Hail Mary sort of pop-up on it, but if it makes any better of a move up from this point, if it ends up trying to make a move back up towards 330, then at that point we'll call it out further. But for right now, I like the SLQT, LIXT, IBIO, obviously Six Flags we just talked about, and even the AI trade. In hopes of a bounce on that one, it would be pretty interesting to see 24 hold here. I was looking for 2388 inside our live traders talk workshop earlier today. That was back at 11 o'clock Eastern time this morning. So, ended up breaking below there. Support should turn into resistance at first. So even at this point, when it begins to rev back up above the 2389 price, I wouldn't be fully as convinced in jumping in just yet. You'd want to see it begin to solidify as support, which you're starting to see right now. So I feel like there could be some good opportunity coming up here on this AI trade. Maybe the others too, but I like the AI here so far the most out of all of those different deep learning AI trades. So, for right now, folks, for all of us on Facebook Live, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, hey, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every day, each and every afternoon. We'll continue with our streaming here across the afternoon. But if you have any other questions, feel more than free to shoot me a quick email. Josh@c2trading.com is the handle. Otherwise, though, if you're interested in joining our live trading room, getting full commentary throughout the entire day, audio and chat, just go right down to the link on the blue banner below the stream right there to get yourself started. But aside from that, Rich will be on the mic at least coming up, folks, for Sam, Leda, Jeff, Grant, and John Ruth. And any of our new trial members here, welcome aboard, first and foremost. And, hey, just keep in mind, as a new trial member, lastly, before I sign off, we would not want you to trade and risk your capital, what I kind of call your hard-earned money. You got to learn before you can earn. So, hopefully the afternoon provides a lot of different opportunities for our students. But as a trial member, I would simply just observe, sit back, just see if this is something that we could do on a consistent basis. And then from that point, talk to us, if you're interested in learning more about our courses. All right. But for all of us here collectively, we look forward to chatting with you folks coming up pretty soon. Take care.